everybody, and welcome to Comics News Today. I am Chester C. Busby III, and I'm very happy to have you all here with us. And we do have a very special guest with us, which is usually not something we do on the Comics News, but today we had a good opportunity to do that, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to get right to that. But of course, the first thing I want to do is remind you all that we have all our links down below. We certainly would love to see you all come over to Fanspeak on Facebook. That link is right there. And also, you can contact me at my links for Twitter and Facebook to get on the show here. This is Fanspeak after all. We would love to have you on here and get your opinion and have you to be part of this conversation. But also, you can contact me if you'd like to be part of the Drawn and Quartered Fan Edition. If you're an artist and you think you've got what it takes, well, then come over and let me know that, and I'll get you through the process so you can get in there. And just keep in mind that the Fan Edition actually has a prize, which is unlike the pros, because if you're the winner of Fan Edition, you get to go have a seat with the pros to sit down with some really amazing artists and occasionally an actual legend, which is always fun, I think, beyond the simple exposure. We also have other links down below. Please take time to check those out. And we're very happy to have you here today. And I see it's McGee is already commenting in the chat. Nice. JP4 is up here and he says, just got to say hi. More more worky work tonight. Are you working on the holiday, huh? Lorenzo Slee Stack says hi there. Well, hello, sir. All right, guys. Just keep in mind one of the things that helps us out the most is hit that share button and let the your friends and family and extended community know what's going on, so they can come over and join us. Especially today, because we got ourselves a really interesting guest with a very interesting Indiegogo. And let's not waste too much time and come over. I'm going to speak to Denali here in a second. Derek says yo yo, yay low people, whatever that means. Well, it says hail Raven, of course. So Denali, how you doing today, man? I know I got a beautiful sunny day and a hot cup of coffee. How about you?
It's nighttime and it's cold winds and it's a holiday, so I
So how
feel
was it?
more
What did you do for this?
more sleep in, and I actually woke up for the stream.
Sleep in. Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you? What's the longest you can actually sleep? Because I can't sleep very long. My body gets all achy and headachy. I can't sleep for long periods of time. How about you?
I can sleep for maybe a day or two. If
I can't even do 8, dude, without feeling awful. Um, I'm competing against Misfit Comics. Well, I do apologize for that. Although I have to say, we've been doing this for months and we are always at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I would say he's competing against us. But hey, more the merrier. And of course, Janelle, we're going to jump right into it here, and we're going to get to our guest first. We'll do some news later, guys. But we do want to talk to our guest, and I want to introduce you to Crystal McGhee. Hi, how you doing?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Oh no, happy to, happy to. Now, you have a project on Indiegogo right now, which of course we found through Indiecron, and we're gonna get to that in 1 second. But why don't you tell the folks a little bit about you? Who are you, and then we'll get into your book.
Sure, I am a screenwriter as well as script doctor, and I am also a projectionist part-time.
Oh, sweet. Where do you do that at?
Various local theaters. I also can go cross-state as well because I'm able to do film as well, like film reels, canisters, that type of stuff. And there's not a lot of us that can do it and can do it effectively. So I kind of go different places for that as well.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. I kind of just assumed that it was all film, but I guess not. It's all digital now, huh?
Nope. A lot of it's digital. There are a couple directors, like Spielberg from time to time, as well as a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head. But they still work exclusively in film. People usually have to dust off their film projectors or get it, transferred to a digital format. I can also do that as well, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you're definitely in the film world now. I remember I had a girlfriend when I was younger, and she was a projectionist at our local movie theater. We had like a little two-screen movie theater in my hometown. And now, so I've seen the film, well, the film projector. I've seen what those things look like. What does the digital one looks like, just for curiosity?
The digital one, it'll usually come in kind of like a Pelican case, and it's kind of like a large hard drive. So if any of you guys have like kind of those like square kind of rectanglish, storage drives that you put into your computer, this is like a larger version of that. Yeah, and you take it out, and there's codes, all sorts of stuff you have to kind of program in once you get it to, excuse me, get it to work with the digital projector.
Well, that's really interesting. I didn't know. Like I said, I haven't been over there in a while, and I haven't had a chance to look in a projection room. But well, thank you for that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, no
Now,
problem.
what I'm going to do is switch over here to your Indiegogo page, and I'll bring it up here and let you guys look at it in the panel as well. And now we have a Thundaro has decided to come in here and join us. Hello, sir.
Hello, hello.
We are talking to Crystal McGhee, the creator of The Good Night, Nightmare Realm #1. Very interesting little Indiegogo we were looking at the other day, and Pixel, of course, was on with us, and we were talking about it. And he said, "I'm going to go get her over." So, and here she is. So, let's go ahead and start out with Denali. Why don't you go ahead and lead this off, man, and introduce this Indiegogo for us, and get your first questions here for Crystal.
All right. So I see The Good Night, Nightmare, a trail of blood, tragedy, misfortune follows an immortal knight hell-bent on saving his master. So I see the first image is a YouTube, or I guess a video. Just the first question, is that part of the interior art right there that we're
correct.
seeing?
Yep. It's
awesome.
Interior art.
Okay.
Let me see. So that's pretty cool. Who's the artist on this project?
Francisco Nardi. Hopefully I pronounced his last name correctly.
It's really good art.
Absolutely.
With the immortal knight is the bear, right?
Correct. Once he lost his human body, you come to find out with the bear body, he's immortal. So, yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. All right. And, yeah, all right. So now the artist, I haven't heard of this artist offhand. We don't have Todd in here. He's like an encyclopedia on artists. But have either one of you guys heard of this artist before? He's really good.
He's from
Sadly,
Brazil. He has a couple published works over there, as well as some published works in anthologies over here in the U.S.
All right. Yeah, it is Francisco Nardi, and we have, of course, our friend Pablo Romero, which we know quite well, and he's got a B cover, which is cool. So I'm assuming they're friends. But I really love this art, and it's kind of interesting for me, getting in to doing these things over here on the in this community. I was more of kind of a generic comic book fan, but my horizons have been broadened, I should say, because there's a lot of really good European artists, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I know they're in Argentina, but that's still European, right? Yeah, I've really been impressed by the other side of the pond art quality. It's really, really good. You were going to say something, Thunder?
No, I was just saying I had never heard of him before either.
He's excellent. All right. Now,
And a little bit of background on the art. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
But it's mixed media.
It is.
So he uses charcoal, other stuff, as well as some stuff on canvas, and then he brings it into stuff like Photoshop and Illustrator to further tweak it and give kind of the completed product here.
I see posters, I see 3D models, all kind of stuff. He's using everything he
Yep.
can. He's throwing it out all at it. And
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Now, this looks really great in this grayscale here. And I'm assuming the book is grayscale. Are you going
Correct.
to, is there going to be any kind of color, or is it just covers?
Nope, it's black and white, and it's 48 page, and it'll be magazine size. So if any of you guys have
nice.
ever read like Heavy Metal, it's slightly larger than the usual comic book. And it's black and white also for story reasons that you'll find out later. So it does also incorporate itself into actual storyline later on.
Awesome. Now I'm sitting here looking at your perks, and you kept it simple, which I think is good. You have your big one here for $100. You get four signed cover A's, four signed cover B, and two T-shirts. So I'm assuming this is kind of a retailer offer. Then we have the $50 one, which is two, two, and one. So this is more of a collector option. Then we have kind of a standard one. You get both covers and for $25 in shipping. It's pretty cool. We have our a single cover and then of course a digital copy. Now, one thing we usually do suggest when you're setting up these Indiegogo pages is that to use the featured button. It is something that's available to you. And so I guess I would ask, which one of these would be your feature, do you think? Which one is it you really want to promote? Is it this $50 one or is it
Probably the 25 because you
25?
get both covers. And cover A is also by Francisco Nardi as well.
Oh, there you go. So what I would suggest then is when we go back in and edit this page a little bit and just use that featured aspect and make this $25 one featured. It's a little teeny thing, but it's just
Yeah,
nice to have it at the top of
definitely.
the page. It's just a small suggestion. But other than
I
that,
appreciate it.
I like the look of it. Thundar, you got some questions here for Crystal?
Not at the moment. I mean, they're gonna come to me in a second, I'm sure. I'm mostly just looking at this art. The art's fantastic,
It
by
is.
the way.
It is.
And it's very cool to see, people that are just from around our community and stuff branching out and doing more. It's pretty nice.
It is.
I like the idea. I like the name. Really, there's not much to question. It seems like it's
You know,
pretty well put together. In
yep.
fact.
Nice little thing. I think I would suggest another small suggestion is to have a page or you got art in here, so cool, and it's really good art, so we can enjoy that. I would suggest you also throw in a page here that has some dialogue on it, just so people can get a feel for the read as well. I mean, we all know
Yeah,
that.
that was gonna be my actual comment. Is
Yeah,
we don't know enough
yeah, we
about the
don't. Yeah.
storyline and things of this
Um,
nature.
and it's we know that art sells the book, but the writing keeps bringing them back, right?
Yep.
So a little bit of that would be good. You got this laid out here. You explain um, what's going on. Nice and it's nice and tight. I think it's a good little page actually. I would just those two little tweaks. Maybe Denali has more. I love the fact that the T-shirt's right here so we can see it. You got any other suggestions here, Denali, before we go over and just talking to Crystal about how she got doing this?
Mm, not at the top of the moment. I think you mentioned the comments about getting some dialogues in as well
Mm,
on the preview pages just to get a sampling of your writing. I see that that you got already the script out for 3 issues, so this is going to be a 3 issue storyline.
12.
Uh,
12.
12, sorry.
12.
12, sorry, excuse me. 12.
Yep.
Um, no, awesome. So yeah, no, nothing really comes up to mind regarding this. The I think you said everything that you need to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, which is a good thing. I think
exactly.
it looks good. Yeah. Just yeah, those two little suggestions. But otherwise, I think it's a nice little tight little page. Let me come over here to chat real quick, and I see that Joshua is saying the wee oil bird needs to wake up and entertain the people. He does, doesn't he? But I'm kind of thinking yesterday was a Sunday for him, or excuse me, no, it was a Monday. So I don't know what he's doing, but he might well have a
I
mental
believe
issue.
he's being an ultimate nerd and going to play D&D. That's usually what he's doing on what would be his
That's
Tuesday.
right. That's right. That's right.
Nice.
Yes, no, there's nothing wrong with that. And he's it's kind of something new for him. He's actually hasn't been doing that very long, and he's surrounded by rules lawyers and stuff like that. I was actually talking to him about that the other day, and I was trying to give him hints on how to manage them peoples, those rules lawyers. Very cool.
I've never gone that far into nerddom. I've never even played it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, D&D's fun, dude. It's one of the things that's really good about tabletop gaming in general, whether it be a role-playing game or a board game or what have you, is it teaches you a lot about social interaction because you can't talk over people, you can't yell and scream at people without it coming back at you, right? So
Right.
it's very educational in that way. It also gets your brain working. You have to be smart and clever and tactical and strategic, et cetera, et cetera. I would suggest anyone to try a tabletop role playing game because it's not only fun, but it's actually develops certain skills that I think are quite useful, especially for kids like junior high, high school kids. I think should definitely would be extremely useful to be part of that group. And of course, it's a very nice social structure because I don't know how kids are today, but when I was a high school kid, all we did was on Friday and Saturdays, we'd go out to somebody's house and we get plastered drunk, listening to music and just being a bunch of idiots, stealing road signs and stuff. And that's not particularly productive, right? Um, well, it isn't, right? But you can actually have a lot more better time. A lot more better time. I did say that. Wow. You
Wow.
you can have a
Wow,
better.
the English teacher.
I know.
Wow.
I just gave myself a C minus. Um, but anyway, let me get into a question here for you, Crystal. Now, we look at your page. It's nice, straight to the point. We get what's going
Hmm.
on. What I want to know is where is the inception of this? Where's this idea coming from? That your creation of this good knight and this immortal bear, and where'd you come up with this? And also, in that creation, is this something that's being geared toward a certain age group?
Yes, I'll start off with the age group question. This is a mature title, so it is for adults. I would say this is kind of like if you were going for movie equivalent, rated R. There's a lot of mostly for violence and suggestive themes and partial nudity.
Well, the bear is full on nude. That's the full Monty right there.
Nice.
This
Too funny.
filthy bear degeneracy going on right
Well,
now.
hey, I'm a bear myself, so we watch out for those things. How about its inception?
That started. I don't know if you guys have seen an anime, a feature called Akira.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
And in that movie, there's a scene where the main character is in the hospital and he kind of meets this little toy bear, a toy car, and a rabbit, little stuffies. And you come to find out through this kind of intense psychedelic scene that those three objects are actually tied to ghost-like entities. And I thought that would be interesting concept to explore in greater detail.
Okay, that's cool. So that the absolutely legendary Akira inspired you. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. Now, now, of course, you're taking that imagery, but you have gone way beyond that because that's just telekinetic kids, in that situation. You've gone into an immortal bear knight. What's his name here? Sir Alexander, a medieval knight from the past, trapped in the form of a teddy bear by his previous master, finds himself indebted to Eric, tasked with protecting his son, Queen Belladonna, etc., etc. So this is way beyond what you saw in that Akira movie. So how did you tie that together, and where did you come up with this crazy idea of an actual knight, Sir Alexander himself being entrapped inside a bear? I mean, how did you add all that?
Well, I really love just medieval times, and especially like King Arthur and all of those legends and stuff like that. So I thought this would be an interesting kind of time period to put the idea in. I mean, when he gets turned into a knight, it's essentially kind of like an alternate reality take on medieval times. And when he finally meets this kid, Jack, who you guys see in the first page there,
Hmm.
he already has a new master in the present day. So, yeah.
Now, how old is Jack here?
He's 15.
Okay, so we're following a teenage boy. And I do see that there's a lady here that has many arms, and I'm assuming this is Belladonna.
Yep, Queen Belladonna. And her arms also, her people from another planet, they're kind of like heavy lifters, but they're also magic casters. So They're like set of arms. Let's say you and me are trying to cast a spell. We have 2 hands, right? We only get 1 spell out of that. She has 3 sets, and she can put 3 spells on you before you can even get your 1 spell out there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it makes her very formidable. You definitely can't go one-on-one with magic on her. You definitely have to take some different routes with that.
I see. And the way you're talking about her, two questions. One would be, you use the word alien. Do we mean alien as in the sci-fi approach to it, or alien meaning other dimensional?
Other dimensional.
I see. Okay. Oh, cool. What do you think, Thundaro?
It's an interesting idea. I like it actually. The idea of more arms, more magic. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Actually,
No,
it's
it's
pretty cool.
simple but clever. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because now that's making me feel like you have your own tabletop gaming experience.
I do.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Too
the
funny.
mechanic of it is popping in my head, right? How would I work that on the
Yeah.
table? Cool. What about you, Denali? What do you think about this so far?
Oh, it's pretty interesting. It has a surreal look to it. It definitely has the nightmare fueled um, thematic. I think
Exactly what we're going for.
so. It's kind of like one of those old horror magazine where you just have that surreal thing. And I think when you were mentioning the black and white, I kind of get it's probably adding to that atmosphere,
Yeah, I think it's a good choice.
of the whole thing. Yeah.
Now I
And
know.
one thing to note, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But I was going to say, as far as the lettering, I have noticed that, and I'm actually talking with a gentleman about lettering as well. So we should probably have at least the first 4 pages lettered.
Mhm.
Now, we are at page 30 currently out of 48.
Oh, nice.
But as far as previews, the first 4 will be up soon, hopefully.
Oh, there you go.
Just
Yeah.
got to get with that because I'm currently out of state. So it's a little hard getting all of that stuff together to send
Oh, I
send
see.
out for sure.
And you have
Right.
24 days left on this project. So you normally doing a crowdfunding project, we will see more pictures, more things added as the campaign goes on to add incentive and keep excitement up and stuff. So that's a pretty standard
Mhm.
thing to do. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this and wait to see your some of your actual dialogue that's going on, and hopefully some even more pictures. That would be cool. Now,
Yeah.
here we're seeing 3 characters. We're seeing Belladonna, we're seeing Sir Alexander, and we're seeing the boy. Now, I'm assuming well, not I shouldn't assume. Is this initial story really just focusing on those 3 characters, or is there an expanded pantheon, as it were?
Well, for the most part, we're focusing on Queen Belladonna, Alexander, Jack, his father, uh, Eric,
Hmm.
which you can kind of see in some of the written description. We'll have more
Yeah.
pages out there soon. But basically, Eric and Belladonna have kind of like a past. And Eric, Jack's father, is half dragon, and he's from the same world as Belladonna.
I see.
And they were actually arranged to be married as well because they're royalty from the world that they're from. And then we also follow Jeffrey, who Alexander calls up for help, who is sort of his longtime kind of foe of sorts. And those are the 5 characters that we're focusing on. But Jack, for this first issue, you don't really see him as much. You're mostly just getting to know Sir Alexander, Eric, and Jeffrey as they go out to kind of look for Jack, who's been kidnapped.
Oh, I see. Now I see in
Okay.
this, we see him going underneath the bed and stuff, and I'm assuming that's the kidnapping. But I see these creatures here, and they're what tell us about these creatures? What kind of creatures are these? These ghouls or whites or what are they?
They're ghouls, but we don't call them that in the story, but they basically act the same way.
I see.
Yep, and they're controlled by belladonna. They're kind of like a lower life form type species as far as belladonna's people are concerned, and they kind of, use them to do their dirty work.
I see. So, so far what I'm seeing is Melodon is the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sir,
Wait a minute. A woman is a bad guy? Wait a minute.
Indeed.
Why not?
Too
This
funny.
great bad guy, bad gal, I guess, ladies we've seen in the past for sure. Um, cool. All right. Now, I guess my next question for you would be, how did you get into writing scripts, or where'd this start for you? Where'd you become a writer?
I started off when I was 19 doing some script doctoring.
Hmm.
And you can either do this freelance or through, uh, a company. And I started doing that, and that's kind of where I got my start. And I've continued on and done more stuff as far as the entertainment industry is concerned.
I see. So did you have some kind of major in school that kind of, pushed you in that direction, or it was just something you did straight out of high school?
It was just something I did straight out of high school. Now, I did have contacts, I guess you could say. Like, I know quite a few SAG actors, and that kind of helped, people that kind of referring you and getting, getting you out there. So that's helpful.
Oh, cool. Now, you've mentioned this a couple times already, so why don't you take a little bit of time and talk to us about because this is a comic book, but you have a lot of experience with film and scripts and stuff like that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your, you know, Hollywood experiences and aspirations?
Hollywood.
I'm using
Well,
that as a general net for movies, right?
yeah, no problem. Well, a lot of the stuff I do is people send me in their scripts, and as a script doctor, you go through their scripts and you fix it for general formatting errors, spelling errors, as well as inconsistencies within someone's story or their script. And you're also looking to make sure that it's marketable. And I also do some other stuff on the side, like I'll create reels for people. So different SAG actors will come to me, and if they want like I'll kind of go through, hire some people, and kind of direct this whole process. Yeah. And so as far as aspirations, I don't know. I've written some different scripts and gotten stuff optioned that haven't gone anywhere particularly yet, but mostly getting it, consistent work as a script doctor and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's very interesting. We've had several guests on this show. Of course, our focus is on comic books particularly, but we've had several guests actually that have either dabblings or a full foot inside the movie making business. That's kind of interesting that they connect so well. But you were talking about that a little bit earlier, about how that it goes the other way as well. You were talking to me about how a lot of times a movie script they want it to be adjusted so that it can easily fall into a comic book. So why do you think seems to be this connection between comic books and movies? I mean, very different media, right?
I think it's because comics, a lot like television, more so kind of film, there's storyboarding.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of times when you're on, the kind of entertainment side with television and, features, and even animation, there's storyboarding and they kind of lay that out and you tell the whole story that way. And I think they kind of see comics as that same type of thing where you're laying out the story, you put a little bit of text beside it. And I think, excuse me, a lot of people kind of, noticed that. And so they think, well, if you have a book, you have a comic, you have a better chance of these production companies actually checking out your work because you have something to show, if that makes sense. So it's like, hey, I have this comic here, check it out. I also have this screenplay for a feature film. You might actually have a chance of getting your script looked at because there's, an IP kind of attached to it. You have this comic. So then it's like, okay, we have a comic that could be sold and we have a feature that could be made. So you're bringing more value to them. So I think that's kind of why that happens.
And we've actually said here a few times that, especially with like say Marvel Studio movies, I've always found it interesting that you go having these big blockbuster movies that have had great success, but yet you don't see them giving away comic books at the front door or selling comic books in the concessions or what have you. And I don't understand why. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to do that, but you never see it. And I've always thought that was very odd. I suppose it's just an additional expense, and it's probably logistics are a nightmare. But I just always thought that'd be a good idea. I think everyone here agrees with that. But anyway, guys,
Yeah.
keep in mind here that we are very happy to have all of you in here watching. Of course, if you have any comments or questions for Crystal, please let us know. We also appreciate those subscribes and those likes and stuff as usual. But really, what we like to do is have that share button hit and let everybody know what's going on. We do realize this is a holiday today, and everyone's out probably. Doing what have you for that. I don't know what you do for Martin Luther King Day. I haven't been in America in such a long time. And when I was there, no one did anything for Martin Luther King's Day. It was hardly even mentioned. But it seems like it's a thing today. Cool. What do you guys do for Martin Luther King Day? What is the appropriate celebratory actions? Hmm.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So it's just the media likes to talk about it. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see.
I believe so.
Yeah, because when I remember when I was a kid, no one even mentioned it. It was like nothing. It was just like a day off, I guess. I don't even know. I don't even think it was a day off, actually. When did it become a day off?
Well,
I don't know.
considering you were a kid back in the 30s, I don't think it was a day off.
No, I don't. I don't think it was a day off when I was a kid, actually, dude. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I'm kind of wondering because I wonder if somebody were in the chat could go check when did Martin Luther King Day become an actual federal holiday? Because I don't seem to recall it being one when I was a kid. But nevertheless, that doesn't really matter. I hope people had a good Martin Luther King Day and enjoyed themselves. But
Right.
what
That
would
was
you?
1983.
1983. Oh, well, there you go. See,
Yeah, I thought it was Reagan. I was pretty sure it was Reagan, but
there
I
you go.
couldn't remember what year.
So when I was a
Hmm.
kid, it wasn't a thing. See, I am old enough for that. Thank you, Thundaro. But anyway, thank you very much for that. I just want to see if the guys here or anybody in the chat has any further questions for Crystal. No? All right. Well, it was a lot of fun having you on here talk about your book, and it looks really nice. I love the art. I think the page.
Thank you.
Yeah, those couple of suggestions, you might want to take into account with the putting some. Well, you already sound like you're doing one, but I would certainly use that feature to move this $25 one up to the top, like the first thing they see. But yeah, it was really nice.
Definitely.
And keep in touch with us, please. Let us know how it goes. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to switch over to talking about today's news a little bit. But before I do that, Crystal, is there anything else you want to say or to the community here?
No, just thanks for having me on your show, guys. And I really appreciate this opportunity to kind of show you guys this comic that I'm working on.
Cool, and I think it looks really nice, and hopefully you guys over there in chat will go check it out yourself. And if you find it to your liking, to please back it and support Crystal and what she's doing. I think it's a really nice looking book, and of course, the one artist we don't, I have not yet to meet, but of course we know Pablo. Pablo has been in our community for quite a while. He's an amazing artist. Here's Pablo's
Yeah,
cover, by the way.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely go over there and check it out. Support it if you can, and yeah, it looks fun. definitely does. Now, Crystal, we're going to move into doing the news. You're more than welcome to stay with us and be part of that debacle that's about to take place. But if you don't want to, then of course you can jump out from now. But I certainly am very appreciative of you coming over here and sharing this with us, and I really do hope you keep in touch with us.
Yeah, I'll definitely stay for the news. That's always fun and meme filled. So
It is. It is. It
I'll,
is.
I'll I'll
So
stay for that for sure.
cool. Well, here we go then. Now the first one we're going to do today is fun. Actually, I think it's pretty cool. I don't know how many of you pay
Ooh,
attention to.
Bloodshot.
Don't
Yes, yeah,
believe his
valiant
lies.
comments, right? Don't believe my lies. Go ahead, Denali.
Vin Diesel reveals first look at Bloodshot movie. So it's Vin Diesel looking like Vin Diesel.
And he's going to be Bloodshot, huh?
Yep.
So
It's
he's
an
going to be
interesting
Vin
choice.
Diesel playing Vin Diesel as Bloodshot. Cool.
Well,
Yep.
I don't think it's that bad a choice. What do you think it's a bad choice, Thundar?
No. Vin Diesel's fine. He's just always the same guy, but most of them action actors are.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodshot is pretty much your kill him up regenerator. I guess he's like a Punisher mixed with Wolverine. I guess is what he would be. Something like that. He's got billions of nanobots in his body, and of course he can regenerate. But when I first saw this, I was like, yeah, that's cool because we haven't had a really good Vin Diesel action flick in a bit, right? They had that
Right.
Triple X garbage, but
Ooh, yeah. No.
no, thank you.
Yeah,
But
no thank.
he's really good at that type of hand-to-hand blade fighting. He's cool at that. I like Vin Diesel, and he's still young enough to pull that off, I think. Any
Yeah,
The
I
opinions?
think
only
I think he'll do
thing,
fine. Honestly, the good thing about Vin is he's a nerd. He's a hardcore nerd.
Oh yeah,
He's
he's
a
one
big
of us.
video game fan and everything, and he's, as far as I know, he's pretty into comics and stuff too. So I
Yeah,
think he'll try and do it as much justice as possible.
I think so. What do you think about this, Crystal?
well, I was just gonna say the only thing is that this they're already kind of starting this off a little bit interesting from the entertainment side because you have an actor who has a kind of a lot of baggage, like films aren't performing
Mm,
as well, and it's kind of like a hit or miss situation
it's true.
as far as some of the stuff that he does. So you're kind of getting all of this, quote unquote baggage going into the movie. But, that's not to say that it could still be a good film. It's just that's something that's going to kind of be swirling around.
Mm, true. Denali?
I mean, it's interesting. Hopefully, it doesn't become like Chronicle of Riddicks or anything like that,
Well,
which was his.
those
I
are
mean,
my favorite things he does. But
poor taste. Next, you're gonna say you love Highlander too.
hey now, let's not bring that in here. That's one of
I
those forbidden
I'll
topics.
take that. I'll take that shot. I like Chronicles of Riddick. I think it's a fine movie.
I love it. I love Pitch Black was better, but yeah, I like that character
Yeah.
in general. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, Riddick's a good character. Chronicles of Riddick. I mean, it's. I mean, let's be honest. It's dumb, but it's fun. It's a fun movie.
What now? What was the third one called?
Just Riddick, and it was
Just
basically just like a reset for the character. They basically just did Pitch Black
again? Yeah,
without the
yeah,
Pitch Black part.
Yeah.
yep. But I like some of it though. I mean, because Vin Diesel, he's got that he's got that machismo thing down perfect, man. I mean, it just drips mail off this guy. He does that really well.
Yeah.
But cool. All right,
He's
let's move on.
very well constructed.
Yeah, absolutely. And but yeah, so that very happy piece of news, and let's see if the happiness continues, Denali.
The new Teen Titans illustrator George Perez formally retires from comic work.
Wow. Now, how old is George now?
I think he's in the 60s right now.
See, he's not that old, really. Of course, he can retire all he likes. Happy times, Mr. Perez. But this is a legend here. I mean, this is George Perez,
Yeah.
for goodness sake. There's how many artists that are currently working today name him as their inspiration to become an artist? I mean, really. I mean, this guy,
like all of them.
yeah, it's a surprising to me that an illustrator is actually retiring at all. But oh well, I
Well,
guess.
didn't he have some health issues as well, I believe?
I didn't know that. Yeah. So maybe
That
that's
would
why.
make
Yeah.
sense.
Because I thought something like carpal tunnel and
Oh
maybe some
wow,
other stuff.
really?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go check, but I thought that was the case.
Well, that makes a lot of sense then. He's 64. Thank you, homeless liberal. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Perez, pure legend, beautiful art. If Pope Fire was in here, she'd be crying. We could hear. I can hear her audibly across the ocean right now. No, seriously, right?
Yeah.
Like this
I
guy's
believe it was
amazing.
a heart attack. Now that you mention it, Crystal, I think it was a heart attack that he had
Oh, I
last
Okay.
see. I see.
last spring.
Well,
Because I remember he canceled some of his like conventions as well.
Right.
mm,
I think
Yeah,
it's I think it's due to that heart problem you were mentioning.
Mhm.
So yeah, I left. Sitting there 12 hours a day drawing does wear down the body after a while.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, Jason Miller's here and he says, "Hey, all listening but doing stuff. Pixel dares to mention Triple X. We don't need no Triple X, Pixel. All right." Willie Reed's in here. Hello, sir. Nice to see you.
Here, I'll also be the dissent. I like the first Triple X movie. It's actually
It
pretty
was all
good.
right.
Yeah.
It
The
was all right.
most recent
I
one
definitely
is
say the
passable.
first one was a good film as well.
I wouldn't go that far. Let's not get carried away.
You know,
now.
you know what was a better what was a better film than Triple X?
What?
The Iron Giant.
Oh, that was.
Well,
Oh yeah,
classic.
correct.
obviously.
Classic.
No contest.
If you're going to watch a movie called Triple X for cinematic cinema quality, you're going for the wrong reason.
I have to say though, when he was walking around in that bear coat, man, I mean, because that's one thing about Vin Diesel, he can pull off badass, coolish. I almost swore, but he can pull that. He pulls that off, man. And that Triple X when he's got that bear jacket on, that's killer, man. I mean, I
Yeah.
wish I could pull that off.
He's got swagger, that's for sure. It's
Yeah,
what
he
has made his
does, man.
career.
That's right. But this is a good news, I guess, because we love George Perez, and have a good rest, sir. Please take care of yourself and
Yeah.
enjoy your retirement, please. Yeah, let's move on.
Absolutely.
Oh no, is this another controversy, Nelly?
Yeah, Superman comic draws criticism for showing torture and murder of Lois Lane. I briefly talked about it from yesterday's show, which
You did.
yeah, this is part of the Walmart exclusive 100-page giant book where they're targeting specifically to kids. This is an entry book and they have intense adult themes
Now,
in the book.
I heard you say that, and I just and you said it again. So I just want to confirm, this is
Mhm.
absolutely geared at children. This is this to be
Correct.
true. Okay.
Correct. That's one of the reasons why they're doing it. These are specifically geared for parents and children. This is supposed to be an entryway to get kids hooked onto the comics, and if they're interesting, they go to their local comic book shops and start getting more comic books.
Can I just ask the obvious question? Why in the world would they put Tom King on that? If that was the idea, why would they put the most depressed man in comic books on a book for children? Yep. His depression's so obvious. It comes through all of his work.
It does. And
they put him on there. Obviously, he's going to do something stupid.
And he's the only new story in there is from him. The rest of them are old stories. So the only new thing in that is actually his 12-page, murder of Lois Lane by Lex Luthor. So yeah, it's a weird choice.
Right.
I don't know why you choose Tom King anyway. I guess he's the golden boy.
Right. Because if I was an editor, I would have been like, Tom, this is for kids and parents who's going to pick up the comic book and look at it before purchasing it for their kids. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
And there's the controversy of it, right? Because if this was just a normal comic, I wouldn't have any problem with that. But seeing as it's for kids, I mean, come on, let's sell the kids. Let's make them happy about Superman. Superman, the wholesome, cool, fun Superman, right? We do have March Hare in here, and he says the Iron Giant is cinematic gold. You are right, sir. Tim.
Yes, sir.
That's a rough one. Help me out, Denali. Guerreri. Tim. Hi, Tim. They sell them by the Pokemon cards. First page has has Lois taking a bullet to the head.
Yeah, exactly. That's where they are.
Is this serious?
Yes, it is serious. Yeah,
wow.
Hey, I
Yes.
have a quick question for Tim with the funny name. Is it pronounced? Well, I guess not funny, but you know what I mean. Is it pronounced like Guerrero, but with an I on the end instead of an O? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, which is weird. I'm usually the one who pronounces things well. I mean, it's kind of my job, but this one's kicking my butt.
Yeah.
Guerrieri. 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 Hmm. I
Yeah.
don't know. I do apologize, Tim.
Yeah.
Welcome, though. We're very happy to have you here, man. And thank you for the information. Uh, Yep, from Nerd Out Comics. Okay, sweet. But yeah,
Yeah.
this
So
is.
yeah. So they're kind of trying to say, oh, his mind is wandering to dark places, and in this article, I'm like, yeah, but this is for
Yeah.
kids.
No, well, here's a comment right here from a father. Uh, at Tom King TK. I've been buying the Walmart Superman books and sharing them with my 10-year-old son each month. It's been fun until now. I won't share number 7 with him because a 12-page Lois Lane snuff comic isn't something I want him to experience. Whew, there you go.
Hmm.
That's all you need to see right
Which
there.
right, and that comes with the other issue that we've been having in comics is that a lot of these comic books, unfortunately, because kids don't have disposable income like collectors and us adults, are not geared back towards kids
Yeah.
or more general, more family geared to family settings where the whole family can enjoy it. Um, so this is kind of going to push back the momentum because DC's been having issues with getting these 100-page comic books on time, which is one of the reasons why Walmart's been kind of pressing hard on them and saying you got to have these on. We hold you guys accountable for this.
Okay, now
Hmm.
these comments up above are exactly what we're talking about, and they're well founded. These are being geared toward children, and we need that. We are always talking about that over here. We need to sell to the kids because we want to see the future of comics thrive, right? So
And
these are all
Superman's
appropriate.
perfect for that.
It is, and these are all appropriate. And then we come into moron land. The fourth Pip, whoever you are, you idiot, get a better haircut, dude. It's the special all refrigeration of Lois issue. Really, dude? Really? What does that have to do with
Another
anything?
thing too is that if you have these mature comics, they need to be labeled as such with the proper,
No, you're right.
disclaimers as well.
Right. That the whole black label was supposed to be their DC's answer for mature audience
Mhm.
only, but that failed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying about this fourth Pip comment, right? This has
Hmm.
nothing to do with the conversation.
Kind of dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Hmm.
It's ridiculous, especially considering, like I was saying, Superman is perfect. If you're trying to reach out to younger people, he's the one to do it with. They have the built-in iconic hero, and then they throw Tom King on there, and Tom King's it up. I don't get it. It doesn't even make sense.
It does. It doesn't. No. But I mean, it's just Tom King. I mean, he's really. I mean, the dude can write. I'm not saying he can't, but he can't separate his whatever's going on in his life from his books. And we see this happen a lot. We see a lot of times when these writers are, or even artists, are going through some, drama in their life, divorce or whatever it is. They can't keep it separate from their work, and it's like it's extremely unprofessional. And this is definitely what's going on with Tom King, obviously. Let's see. The homeless liberal says this is how we get Comics Code Authority. Yep, exactly. Tim says Brent shops from us. Nerd Out in Tampa and comics and stuff, South Tampa. I just snagged 2 copies from Walmart on Gandy. They have more. Just for your information. Cool, dude. So we got a comic book store guy here. Nice. Dave's in. He's like, oh man, I'm so late. No problem, dude. I happen to have you here. Tyler says, honestly, I don't think these are intended to just be for kids. If you look at some of the stuff that's reprinted in these 100-page giants, it's material that's not aimed at kids. But then again, he's telling us that they're sitting right next to the Pokemon cards because Walmart doesn't know that. The
That's
homeless,
true.
yeah, the homeless liberal, Death of Superman, and Reign of the Supermen seem less dark and that was rated R. Some people died, but it was for the storytelling purpose and wasn't overdone. Nix is here and he
I
says, "Hi,
guess the
everybody."
problem here is the branding. Like, is it for kids or is it for adults or is it
Yeah.
for everybody in between? Like, it definitely needs to be laid out and in the proper section if that's the case.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that's the only point.
these 100 pages are specifically geared for kids. That's why they're next to the Pokemon cards and the
that's
Digimon cards. Yeah. And if you kind of look at it with the big giant letterings, Superman and the bright colors, it's all for enticing kids to pick them up and say, "Hey, I want to read this," kind of deal.
Well, there's another aspect to it too. Is it just really doesn't belong, and this is my own personal opinion. Obviously, it doesn't belong in a Superman book at all. That kind of graphic violence is just not fitting for Superman. I mean, you can do it, sure, it's fine occasionally, but in a book that's designed to be a massive, what's the word I'm looking, cornucopia, that's what I'm looking for, of Superman stories, why would you put such a dark story in it, period? That just doesn't even make sense. That's not what Superman's about. It can have that sometimes, but I don't know, it's just really a really dumb editorial decision all the way around.
Yeah, like from what it sounds like, it definitely sounds out of place for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it was just normal Superman stories, and then all of a sudden, extreme violence and torture. Like, what?
Yeah. Which, I mean, if they did, like, say, a Black Label, and something like that was happening in the Lois, but you could have some good storytelling there. This has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the market. Anyway, moving on to the next thing here. Let's see what we got here. It says the new Godzilla and King Ghidorah are from the upcoming movie are available. So it's talking about some Monster Arts, May 31st.
Yeah.
My envy of Chester grows by the day. Look at this guy. Just reads it like it's nothing.
Well, it's not nothing, but dude, I've lived here 16 years. I mean, come on. I've been married to a Japanese woman 23
Well, there's people
years.
who've lived there for quite a while and still can't grasp it. They're stupid, but they're there.
Oh no, the spoken language is very simple. It took me about 3 weeks to
Oh,
get this.
that looks nice.
It does.
Dude.
It does. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, no, Japanese, the spoken language of Japanese is quite easy. It's the writing that's the issue, actually. But anyway,
The
that doesn't
kanji.
matter.
Yeah.
But cool. It's
Yeah, these are where all the people were yelling at you when you were at Tokyo Comic Con. It's like, go to the Monster Arts to look at these figures.
Yeah,
that's all of that is awesome.
Yeah. It is cool, and they had a giant version of this sitting in the booth. It was a giant one, and I got pictures with it in front of with my kids and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. And people were the people on that chat you're talking about. They're very knowledgeable because for me it was like, oh, this looks more like the classic Godzilla. But then they were commenting on how this is different. This little thing is different. These teeny little features that they recognized were slightly different. I was impressed actually. But cool. Yeah, if you guys enjoy collecting models, well, you have an opportunity to do that. And the new movie looks a lot of fun. I hope it follows the trailer, but we know how those things go. So I'm tentative at best, but I hope it's going to be cool. Did you guys see that trailer?
Yes. I've rewatched it multiple times.
Yeah,
Good
me
stuff.
too. Yeah. It looks really cool. It's like, oh, finally a throwback. Because these days they want to make everything gritty and realistic. It's like, no, dude, throw supernatural at me. Put people in spandex, damn it.
I do have one fun fact about this new Godzilla film. You know King Ghidorah? Those three heads, they have 3 different motion capture artists for each head, so it comes off as original and kind of unique to specific heads.
Oh, are
I thought that was pretty neat. They are doing motion capture.
So just for the facial animation.
Mostly for the movement, yeah, as much as can be said about that.
That's cool. I hope they don't have speaking. I don't remember Ghidorah ever speaking. I don't know. We'll see. I'm certainly looking forward to it. Any other comments on this before I move on to the next one?
Oh yeah, what's the price? Does it say anything about prices? Yeah.
Let's see here.
I think it's 7,020 yen. Is that?
Yep, about $65, $62. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad for that detail.
No, and they have the bigger one is going for like 160 bucks though. So
Nice.
yeah, it's definitely.
But that's still affordable compared to usually like 400, 500.
Mhm.
So relatively affordable.
Yeah. Well,
for those who have the budget.
it does give the details of saying that it's a limited collection. So
Oh wow.
yeah, with the bigger one here.
When does that movie come out?
May, I think.
Anybody know the
they
date?
Said, let me come back up.
Yeah.
They said it earlier.
Wow, there's a lot coming out in May and
May
April.
19th,
Like they're just
yeah.
packing it all in
May
at the front of the
2019,
Yeah.
front
So
of the spring summer season.
yeah, right here. See? Cool.
oh wow.
All right. Well, awesome. Moving on here. Let's see. We don't have. Well, that's right. It's a holiday. Now
Yeah.
this right here, I am interested in a little bit. Let me just shut this off. Although I am very excited about Shazam. We're not talking about Shazam here, though. We're talking about this one, Denali.
The New Mutants rumored to have another delay due to troubles behind the scenes and a possible Hulu release. So it looks like there's still some issues happening in the background, and they're looking to maybe, if they can't release it in theaters, to release it as a Hulu exclusive.
I think that's probably going to be the option for them, the compromise, right? Because we know from the little bit when this was first coming out and people are actually talking about it, we know that it wasn't very good. We know there were problems with it. So probably what Disney has is a kind of mediocre project on their hands, but they don't want to waste it, so they'll probably just drop it on Hulu, I think. And which is interesting because they're not even saying they're going to drop it on Disney Plus. No, they got to throw it on Hulu. So oof, goodness, it must be really bad. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea. Some people we've had on here and we've had in the chats over here say they didn't like the idea of a horror version of the New Mutants, and I get that because I read all the New Mutants when I was a kid. But I kind of thought it was a cool idea, actually, personally. Taking the mutant, being a mutant, and doing a horror story. I thought, oh, that would be really interesting. But maybe the acting's not very good or special effects. I know this poor girl over here in the short red hair. I've seen her before somewhere, and
Game
boy,
of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Is
Maisie Williams, I believe is her name.
Oh, that's that girl. Yeah, I like her. She's pretty cool. But that is the worst damn haircut you could ever put on that girl.
And she's supposed to be Wolfbane.
Oh, that's cool. I love that character. That's actually pretty good. But that's a horrible. Come on, guys. It's like when we saw Scarlett Johansson in the Ghost in the Shell, and they had her in that white bodysuit. I mean, come on. As soon as she walked on, the director should have said, "Nope, nope, 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 nope. Go back, do it again." Because I mean, she's not fat at all. I mean, she's quite shapely actually, but her body shape and that white bodysuit was an absolute travesty, a disaster. And I don't know how the director couldn't see that instantly. And here we have another one. Don't put that haircut on that girl, man. That's not good for her.
But in defense of the film, in that particular scene, I believe they are in an asylum of sorts or some type of mental health care or facility of that such. Like, you never know, it could change.
Yeah, you're right.
Later on.
That is a good point. It's just something I noticed off the top of my head because I like this actress.
It is definitely out there for sure.
It doesn't suit her. This girl would never wear that hairstyle herself, right? Because when you're wearing your clothes, and of course I'm a guy, so just cut my hair short and go with it. But I mean, you still have to present yourself to the world, and you work with what you got, right? But anyway, it doesn't mean anything. But directed by Josh Boone. Who's that, dude?
Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head, but this does seem like an interesting concept. And there could also be some issues just because Disney doesn't usually put out mature content. I mean, they do through their other kind of production companies. They own like Touchstone and stuff like that. And they do have a good percentage in Hulu as well. So I mean, this could just be that it's an issue of the brand and content wise and the rating.
Yeah, who knows?
But it's
I
Right.
hard to tell because we've only seen that one trailer and then
Yeah,
it's been pushed back multiple
Right.
times.
that's right. Yeah. Although
Tim
Tim,
says,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, it was just same thing. You go ahead and do it, dude.
All right. The rumor from Tim saying the rumor is there are problems with chemistry on the set. Nobody gets along, and the reshoots are causing frustration, especially those who are trying to honor their contracts.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised. There's some personalities there that could cause some friction. And Josh Boone is actually a fairly new director. New Mutants is actually his third director gig
Mhm.
in his career. The first two were independent movies, small budget movies, Stuck in Love and The Faults in Our Stars. Neither of
Wow.
which I've actually watched.
Wow.
I have
I know.
seen The Fault in Our Stars,
Yeah,
though.
my wife made me
Mhm.
watch
It
that.
was all right.
No, no, it wasn't. It was bad. It was horrible. No, but I mean that's not for me. That movie was not made for me at all. But my wife wanted to watch it, so I watched it with her. But so what you got here is a teen drama romance director making a New Mutants horror movie. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful casting. Good job, guys. Um, Nick W
Have
says
you
to be
guys
fair.
seen Legion?
Say that again.
Uh, Legion? I
Oh,
believe
Legion.
it's on
I like that. I
X.
like Legion a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I really liked the direction they went with that. Now, it wasn't as like a comic book accurate,
No, but it was
but
fun.
I thought as a property on its own, it definitely stood up. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Nick
So
W
hopefully
says,
this would be something like that. Oh, sorry.
no, no, no. I agree with you, dude. Nick W says, to be fair, Rain never had a good haircut. This is true.
True.
Wolfsbane, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I've always liked that Wolfsbane character, though. Anyway, who knows what's going to happen with this? We'll talk about it when we have more information because, as you can see, we just don't have much information, man. But this is one of those things that's getting caught up in a Disney purchase, and every time Disney buys something, they tear everything before up. That's what they do. They are the IP killer.
Yep.
Now this is sounds unfortunate because they've been having some good success with this, Denali. What's going on here?
So basically, an end of Hanna-Barbera at DC Comics. Basically, a source close to Johnson's been telling them that the reasons why they're looking to cancel all of those properties at DC Comics because an executive at Warner Brothers doesn't like how DC is reinterpreting, reimaging a lot of these properties in the comic book, where you have Snagglepuss as a gay scriptwriter, Scooby Doo, and apocalyptic settings.
That was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. You
I
see the
did
Flintstone. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say Men Headroom's video was pretty funny where he covered that Snagglepuss stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah. And I love the Elmer Fudd and Batman. The Flintstones is really good. They've had some really good success with this project actually, and it sounds like some old man who doesn't really read or care about any of this stuff anyway is just saying no, that's inappropriate. That's what it sounds like.
All right. So yeah, so we already have the first one, which is Scooby Doo Apocalypse, being canceled at issue 36, excuse me, and most likely in the upcoming week we'll probably hear the further cancellation of the other projects as well. So
Yeah.
a lot of cancellations in these last months at DC. We've been
They have
hearing a
been
lot.
cleaning house, and unfortunately, they're cleaning house on the new stuff, which doesn't make sense to me, especially some of the ones that are really good, like Silencer and things like that. But Exit Stage Left was actually a very good book. Yeah, it was, dude.
Mhm.
Actually, it was really good. And there you go. Here's an example. Because what do we get called when we say, hey, we don't really like your writing or your art? Oh, you're this kind of horrible name they throw at us. But here you have a book, Snagglepuss, a radical shift where he's been turned into a gay screenwriter, and it was wonderful. We had no problem with it. We thought, oh, that's cool, clever. right? You just got to do it
Yeah.
right, guys. You just got to do it. You have to make a good story. That's all we want, right?
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
definitely agree.
Dave says, didn't Mattel cut ties with DC too? Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And it looks like rumors that Mattel might be bought out by Disney because,
Well,
yeah. Reason why? Because Hasbro hasn't been making too much money. They've been actually losing money because of the Star Wars stuff. So Disney might be thinking, well, if we buy out Mattel, then Mattel can just do all of our Star Wars toys, and we don't have to worry about getting a license fee or anything. It'll probably be the same cost thing.
Yeah.
But
Derek says, "Wait, Silencer got canceled too?" Yes, dude. Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty good show
when?
too.
Yep.
When did that happen?
More than a month ago. We were talking about that quite
Right.
a while
Oh,
ago.
wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That's crazy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, all the let me see, yeah, all the titles: Sideways, Damage, Curse of the Brimstone, Silencer. Let me see what else: The Unexpected, The Immortal, Men. I think, what is it? The other two other titles that
Damage,
it's not coming
Sideways. I don't know if you mentioned those. But yeah, Tim, you're a very knowledgeable dude. You know, you should get in contact with me and come over here and have a chat on the show with us, man. Because one of the things he's talking about right now is something we have up here. Denali?
Right. DC cancels Titans and Damage in April. So issue 36 for Titans and Damage issue 13, I believe. I think it was 13 or 16. Sorry.
No,
I'm thinking of Brimstone.
I really
Yeah.
wish we had a booster in here right now because this is something, Damage. I actually read some of it. It wasn't super great. But
New challengers. Yeah.
Yeah, the challengers. That's right. But Thundaro's in here, and maybe he has a comment on this. How has the current Teen Titans run been doing? Do you think this is a tragedy, or this is finally what's
You're asking the wrong guy about Teen Titans, man.
Yeah, well,
Booster's the one to ask all that.
Yeah, I know.
It looks. It didn't appeal to me at all. It did that. It didn't appeal to me one little bit.
Well, you can't really say they're the Titans because you have Starfire and Cyborg with Justice League Odyssey. You have Nightwing on his own. You basically have the original cast broken up into different titles. And I think Popefire mentioned in our Facebook that they've been canceling Titans because they want to re-image it to the DC streaming Titans. So if Booster was
here, a bad idea. So that was awful,
right?
Wow. Yeah, I don't recognize this team at all. And what is this metallic alien-looking super lady thing?
I think.
What is that?
Isn't that Steel? The re-imaged version of Steel?
But it looks like an alien. I mean,
Hammer.
It's weird.
Metal.
Talk about the head and
but
stuff.
Steel's the dude, though. So did they just gender swap?
Oh, that's what they love to do. I'd love to see since they love doing that so much, I would love the DC take Wonder Woman and do an elsewhere where it's Wonder Dude. Yeah, that would be cool.
No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't even touch that.
Who's the Green Lantern?
This one
Isn't
seems
that
like
Kyle
Rayner. Yeah, but this one is Kyle Rayner, I'd say. Yeah.
Why is he on the Titans? I'm just gonna let it go.
No idea.
because he has no self-respect anymore.
It's weird. It is weird. But once again, in the conversation about Steel's daughter. Oh, okay. Well, so it's a legacy character.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's just an odd-looking character. What's this?
Wait, so they did a gender swap correctly for once? Cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, you can do legacy characters, no problem, right? No, this is just ongoing. I don't know what's going on with DC. Because they've certainly been kind of kicking, Marvel's butt lately because of Marvel's absolute stupidity, and you would think they want to run with that. But nope. I don't know what's going on, but it is what it is.
Bendis is coming.
Bendis is coming. Yeah,
Bendis
exactly.
is definitely.
Yeah, but see,
It's
That
like
comes.
Galactus.
Here comes the
That
Bendis.
here comes the Bendis.
Yeah, but that's coming from
Hello,
Those
Didio though.
two-page
DC
spreads.
fans.
But that's
Here
Didio's
comes the
work.
Bendis.
That is Didio that is doing that
Yeah,
though. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Or
let's go to
or
our
or,
very
or
last
you should
story of the day.
you should say that Bendis is the Silver Surfer, the herald of Didio.
Oh man.
That's good.
Yeah. Now, this story is our last story for today. And it's kind of interesting because it has nothing to do with comic books, but in a way it does.
Right.
It's just interesting. Go ahead and talk about this a little bit, Denali.
Right. The Office creator and Steve Carell team up for a Netflix show about Trump's Space Force. I didn't know Tim Lim and Chuck Dixon signed a contract with Netflix for that.
Well, of course, they're talking about the real Space Force, not their Space Force. Oh, that's the little, cute little connection. Of course, there's
Oh, I'm
zero
sure this is
connections.
going to be the most hilarious bit of woke comedy we've ever seen.
I'm sure. But see, now the thing though, now it's going to be SJW, just bubbling with it. But here's the thing: Steve Carell is extremely funny, man. He is very funny, dude. So who knows? If you do parody and sarcasm, even political parody, in the right way, it can be very entertaining, right? I mean, think of the Flying Circus. They did that all the time, and it was very funny. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
like Saturday Night Live used to be
Oh
good
yeah,
with the political satire, but recently it's too one-sided, and it's not even like really clever jokes. It's like really low-hanging fruit, unfortunately.
and it's also mean.
Yeah, it
Well,
feels very mean-spirited. It's insane.
well, they can't rise to the occasion, so they always have to blame it on somebody else.
Because, I mean, I'm all for roasting everyone. I think there's definitely,
Oh sure.
some enjoyment to be had at going after both sides. It's more
Oh,
fun,
and Trump is so roastable. He's so roastable.
I mean, yeah, he
And the
is,
best
but
part is he actually doesn't mind being roasted as long as it's just a roast. Like,
Yeah.
these
yeah.
people are serious. Their hatred is deep and real. If you're just messing with him, he's got a great sense of humor from all accounts. And
He
I've
does.
watched this man for pretty much my whole life. He has no problem making fun of himself.
Oh no, absolutely. They used to, because when I lived in New York, like I said before, when I was growing up, Trump was part of the fabric of New York City, right? And so he was on the TV all the time talking about this and that and stuff. And I remember there was I forget what it was. It was maybe a radio show or there was something that was very local, or TV show maybe, but it was very local to New York City. And they were making a joke because everybody knew he was a playboy, right? Everybody, it was common knowledge, right? And
Yeah.
but they were kind of making a joke of he's this this confident playboy, but he's so gangly and awkward at the same time. And that was the joke, right? And I remember Trump coming on to a interview. It might have been Al Roker maybe, or something connected with something that Al Roker was on. And he come on and he actually came gangling up like they did on the show. He actually mocked himself the way they had mocked him. I've seen him do this, right? So
Yeah, there's that video of him dancing too.
Yeah.
To I don't know what it's about, but he's just dancing like a goon, and
Mhm.
he has no problem making fun of
No,
himself. I mean,
no,
he
he
went to
doesn't.
WrestleMania and let Stone Cold Steve Austin
Oh,
give him the
yes,
stunner.
dude,
Crying
that
out
was
loud.
awesome. And that whole shaving bit, I was like,
It
I
was
know
great.
Trump is not going to be the one to shave his head.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No, of course. Well, Vince McMahon, I mean, by all accounts, he's really kind of a jerk in many ways, but that
Mhm.
dude is one of the biggest hustlers in entertainment. I mean hustling
Yeah.
and not hustler, but he's both actually. But that
Yeah.
dude will do whatever it takes to have success. You have to respect that on some
Whatever it
level.
takes.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever it takes.
Even get one of his close friends to take a stunner in WrestleMania. Now he's the
Yes,
president.
exactly. Yeah. It's my Billy no.
now
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No, it's funny. But of course, this is going to be, extreme Trump hate. Uh, but I'm hoping that it's done in a clever, fun way. because if it is, it could be great because Steve Carell is. I mean, a lot of people talk about some modern comedians, and in my opinion, a lot of, especially the mainstream ones that have been kind of picked up and hugged by Hollywood, a lot of them really aren't very funny. They're really not good. Steve Carell is the exception. This dude is brilliant, brilliant comedian. His
Yeah,
timing
he
is
is.
impeccable, right?
He's
Um,
fantastic, and he works really well with I can't remember the guy's name, but the creator of The Office. Um, as long as it's more of a joke
Great day,
in the parody
Daniels.
sense,
Hmm.
yeah, as long as it's more of a joke in the parody sense,
yeah,
and it's not just mocking the entire concept from start to finish and is Orange Man bad the whole time, it'll be fine. It'll really just depend on what they're coming at it for. If they're just coming at it to make a little bit of fun of it, that's fine. But if they're coming at it because they think they're going to destroy the whole idea, then they're
yeah,
obviously
which
not.
is always the thing. I
Well,
think
Sadly, the
activism is
Space
good.
Force is something we absolutely need. It's a very good idea. It's just
It is.
the wrong
Mhm.
president put it forward.
Yeah, yep, true.
well, I hope that this show would be like, if anybody watched like the early 2000 C Lab 2021, kind of that style, because it was hilarious, kind of like Archer. If
Oh
anybody
yeah,
watched that,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I hope it's like in that vein where you just have say welcome to Trump's Space Force. It's just them just messing up and everything's falling apart because that's really what's happening with a lot of the equipment in space station right now because we're not really funding those space um, projects anymore. We're not spending billions of dollars.
so they say.
Of,
So they say.
so they say. So
So
they
they
say.
say.
I
Because
mean, even if you played this kind of similar to The Office, have that kind of workplace, dynamic going on, even just that and set in space would be a good idea as long as they're not being so mean spirited without coming up with anything clever.
hmm. No, that's the only hope we can have, and if they did that, I think they would find success. But we'll see. But our trusty sidekick is here. Hey, hey, you doing, dude? He says that Trump used to host SNL for crying out loud. Yes, he did many times actually. And I think that's one of the things that really sent them off on into their tangents and their tantrums was Trump is one of them. You got to keep in mind Trump is not a conservative. He's not. And when they keep showing well, he's this alt-right Nazi, which they don't even know what this word Nazi means, that in itself is hilarious. I love it. Every time they say it, it makes me laugh.
he's a Nazi with a Jewish daughter. I
Yeah,
love it.
but more than that, Nazis are socialists. I mean, that's the whole thing. They're just
Yeah,
national socialists, but they're still socialists, right? Fascism, right? Go look it up. But I'm just saying, this dude, he's one of them, and he's a liberal too. And that's what that would tick them off, I think, right? Because I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but when Reagan was running, and now Reagan is a Hollywood elite. He was a movie star. He was, California and all that kind of stuff. And when he decided to get into politics, this is before that. Maybe this is a mistake Trump made. Maybe he should have gone into being a governor first, because that's what Reagan did. And all of that, because they hate it when their own people get into politics for some reason, because they went after Reagan like crazy, man. But he was a very successful a governor in California for quite a while, and then he became president, right? And maybe it's very similar what was happening to him and Trump. Of course, we didn't have the media we have today, but I just find that interesting dynamic that seems to go on when you take someone from Hollywood who actually gets into politics and isn't
Unfortunately,
ultra liberal.
yeah. Unfortunately, you're not going to have an awesome scene like Back in the Future where you have Christopher Lloyd as who's the president in 1986, Ronald Reagan, and have that genuine reaction. Ronald Reagan, the actor, who's the Secretary of State, Jerry Lewis. You're not gonna have that. If anything comes in Trump in there, it's going to be Orange Man bad. How can anybody be so stupid to vote for Trump? Well, I mean, I think if they do that, well, they've been doing that constantly, and that's why you get this pushback
Yeah.
on it. But
Derek
but
said,
it is.
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, no.
No,
Derek is just saying here Reagan first started as a Democrat, then became a Republican. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone remember the show Quark? Tim Thomerson played the half man, half woman, uh, Jean. Hilarious. No, I don't. Do you guys ever? This is from Tim. Cork. I don't remember that. Hmm.
Yeah, it was a NBC show back in the 70s. I used to watch it on reruns on, I think, TNN or one of those, sister shows back in the early 90s.
Never heard of it.
Uh,
Must be one of those Mandela things. Oh well. Try to keep that all straight. It's so difficult. Actually, Thunder, we were talking about yesterday. Yesterday, we were talking about doing a fast food conversation show, which I think would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I would love
Mm-hmm.
to do, just for the fun of it, would be to do Conspiracy Day and just talk
Uh-oh.
about all the
Ooh.
weird and interesting conspiracy, because some of them are really interesting. Like, people always mock like the flat Earth, but that is interesting what those people have done. They've lost their damn mind, but still, it's interesting. I mean, it
It is
is.
interesting.
It is.
But
And
if you don't understand, you're either of one of two positions. You're either a person that's just smart enough to fall for their arguments,
Mhm.
or you're a person that's too smart and can't explain to that person why they're wrong, or you're somebody who's just been, I guess you would say, indoctrinated with the word they use
Yeah.
into their other way of thinking that they can't shake it.
Mhm.
So it's like they're in this weird little niche where there's just the right amount of IQ where you can fall for it.
Yep.
That's who
Well,
keeps falling for it.
dude, that rabbit hole goes deep too. But the thing
Oh,
is,
I know.
it's particularly interesting. There's several Mandela ones super interesting. I'd love to talk about that. And because the thing I've noticed with all of these conspiracies that are on the internet, that they all have that kernel of truth. There's a kernel of truth there to every one of them, right? That's why
Right.
it becomes a conspiracy, because there is some truth there. They just found a truth, and instead of trying to find why did this truth apply, they just jump to a conclusion. Now, the flat Earth one is an easy one to jump to, because for the majority of human history, we believe the Earth was flat. Well,
Mhm.
not majority, but from time to time, it kind of went back and forth
Right.
in
Or
reality,
different shapes
or
other than
different
a,
shapes.
a
Yeah,
ball.
yeah, exactly, or different cosmologies, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
the so what they did was just, well, if this calculation is inaccurate, which it is inaccurate, then they jumped to, well, then the old thinking must have been true. That's just what they did, and then they went to try to prove it.
Hmm.
And it's very fascinating how hard and how well they actually do explain that. The Mandela effect, the
Hmm.
one, is extremely interesting, because here's the thing: it is obvious to me that Google is messing with stuff. They
Oh
are.
yeah,
It's
they
Yeah,
absolutely
have been
messing with stuff.
for
definitely.
the original mission statement of Google was basically they wanted to control all information in the
Yeah,
world. That was the plan. They wanted to basically take over the world of information.
yeah,
So what they do is all they have to do. It's not even hard. It's so easy with their algorithms. All they have to do is put a little bit of a kink in there, and
hmm,
now they can change the information. Like if you look up,
Hmm.
like I just did Shazam, all it takes you to is pretty much the movie. It doesn't take you
oh yeah,
to anything
Comic.
else. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can do this with all kinds of stuff, like stuff that's been reboot just in culture, stuff that's been rebooted, redone. You do it with Thor. It's harder to find. It's not harder, but you have to take one extra step to find the mythologies of Thor, or to some people the actual realities of Thor,
hmm,
um, than you do just the character in Marvel Comics.
yeah. Well,
And it's what they're doing.
it is. No, it's definitely Google. Google is doing something, and we know they have those killer, unbelievable computers that allow them to allow Google to be what it is, right? It wouldn't be able to do what it does without that level of computing. Those four-dimensional computers are pretty impressive things, and who knows what else they've come up with. But there's a ton of Mandela stuff that would be fun to talk about, but there's two of them that are super interesting. One is the Zapruder film. The other one is the map, right? Now, the map one is really easy though,
Yeah.
because people don't understand that back in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, the world map we were using was slightly less accurate than it is now. You got to understand, when satellites came out, and we started putting them up and they started becoming more sophisticated, we got a better understanding of what the actual shape looked like. So the map did adjust slightly, right? So that is what you're seeing with that. I think in some situations Google has definitely kind of pushed that narrative. And the other, the Zapruder film one, that one is the catchy one for me, because of course we've all seen the Zapruder film of the killing of Kennedy, right? We've all seen that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the thing that they try to push on the thing that in the video it looks like she murdered him. Actually, is what it looks like in the video now,
Yeah.
right? And when I was
Mm-hmm.
younger, it certainly didn't look anything like that. But that's not the thing that catches my eye, actually, with that film. The thing that catches my eye is the fact that there are 6 people in that car, and there were only 4, right? So for some
Yeah.
reason they
I
took the
always remembered it
governor.
as 4 too. I
Wow.
remember all the movies only had 4, and then all of a sudden now you can't find the 4-person car
Well,
anymore.
I have seen a video. Well, you can find the actual car because it's sitting in a museum, and it's 4-person
Yeah,
car.
yeah, yeah.
But there's actually one film I have seen that shows the governor and his wife sitting in a very similar white version of the car that the Kennedys are in, riding behind them, which is what happened, right? But for some reason, Google or whoever, it's got to be Google, made a decision to take the governor and his wife and put them in the same car and stretch it out to 6-person car like that. I don't
What?
know why they did that. I don't know
That's
their purpose,
insane.
but they did. It's odd, and a lot of these Mandela things, which they're obviously changing in the internet, they seem to be someone who's just having like a laugh, thinks that it thinks it's funny almost. It's like, is there purpose behind it, or is it just someone messing with the world? You know what I mean?
That kind of reminds me of a similar type of situation, but with the Wizard of Oz. There's kind of like this conspiracy that one of those actors that played the Munchkins might have accidentally fallen from the rafters or something with accidentally hanging themselves on some wires and stuff around there,
Hmm.
whether or not it was purposeful or not. But people think in the old version, if you watch on the old VHS or some of the older DVD versions, it looks like there might be something up in a corner in one of the scenes.
Oh
And
wow,
then in the
that's interesting.
remastered version that you can get on kind of DVD Blu-ray now, it shows like they put a bird in the place of where people thought that Munchkin was, but there's
Oh,
all these kind of screenshots back and forth that show that it might not even be the same shape at all. And it looks like it's been digitally kind of painted over, if that
hmm,
kind of makes sense.
sure.
Mhm.
And so you guys can look it up, but it's really crazy, and it's definitely one of those things
Yeah.
that are odd.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me, though. I mean, I get why they do that. Nick W says it's a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. Hmm. Lorenzo wants to blame Starfire for all this trickery. I do believe it's probably her fault. Hmm. And Dave said, "There's a war on for your mind, dude. There has always been a war on for your mind." But we're not. We're at the end of the show, of course, guys. But it's I would love to sit and have just some conspiracy day. I think Thundera would like it too. No comment. I've lost my Thundero. Oh my. All right. Anyway, let me get out of here. And now keep in mind, everybody, that of course we do something here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day, and we're always trying to come up with new ideas and new things. But I'm going to let real quick here, Crystal. Other than your Indiegogo page, which we've already talked about and showed, and I really hope you guys go over there and check it out and support her. But could you give your contact information, everybody, please?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Crystal McGhee, and that's CrystalMcghee. And check me out there, and you can find different in progress, stuff with the Good Night.
Yeah, sweet. No, we're going to keep an eye on that too. It was really fun having you on. We really enjoyed it. It's always cool to look at these new Indiegogo projects and talk to the people that are part of this indie revival that is ongoing and quite exciting as it is. Although we seem to have lost Thundaro to some barbecue, I would assume. Um, we are at the end of the show, guys. I thank you very much. I'm going to let Denali give us some updates on what's coming out and take us out as well.
All right. So we have another movie upcoming, Bunny Vision movie night this
Bunny Vision movie
Saturday.
night.
It's going to be Baby Driver that we're going to be watching. So join us on Rabbit. We'll stream there and watch Baby Driver together while we offer our commentary, our poor commentaries. Friday is going to be at 8 p.m. Fan Speak. And we'll talk about the state of comics as we see it. If you have any topics that you want us to talk about or want to join us, hit up Chester and let us know about that as well. Thursday is going to be Drawn in Quarter Fan Edition. It's going to be here on this channel, but next Thursday, the 31st, it's going to be on Ignition's channel.
That's right.
So remember that. So this week it's going to be on this channel. Next week's going to be on Ignition channels. And then Wednesday is the Pro Edition on Blacklist Universe. So we'll follow them and see what's going on. If you want to join the Fan Edition to compete and get on the Pro Edition, contact either Chester for entryway. They would love to have you guys there and compete and generally have fun on those shows. And then Tuesday, which is tomorrow, is going to be Bugs Bear Basement. I'm going to be trying something out new. We'll see how it works, if it works. Otherwise, thank you for joining. If you have any feedbacks, comments, just let us know. We always strive to improve, but as always, your perception shapes your reality. So always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Later.
Later, guys.
Later.